races for sure.
He's absolutely loving it.
3.5 minutes on the clock. Of course, this is round 3 of 10 in carsales ARG eSport Cup. Can we reveal, and I'm looking at our producers very closely, where we go next week and what we are racing next week? TD, you love your open wheelers? Formula 3 cars at the home of the Italian Grand Prix, Monza. That's next week. Right now, though, it's all about the Audi touring car on the run down the back straight with Ash Sutton giving Harley Haber a little bit of assistance. And you'll notice here, he's got the drafting thing right. Bumping the car doesn't help the speed, and it's really fine line between causing a shunt and not.
Yeah, we've seen that quite a few times tonight, but he's really shown his experience there. He's putting quite a bit of pressure on, but he's putting himself in a good position to try and make a passing manoeuvre in this back end of the race. Huge amount of pressure on Harley's shoulders there, and it's so easy to make a mistake in these sims. That's probably the trickiest bit, to actually be consistent. So the guys that can churn out lap after lap, they're doing a really nice job.
But Sutton is right in the toe, down the back straight at the Watkins Glen circuit. This is the track that 40 years ago this year, Alan Jones won the race in his World Championship winning year, and Sutton is making his claim for this second race down the inside at turn 5 at the loop, and a lapped car to come into play here. This could make it really interesting.
Yeah, this could play a bit of a part in it if that car, who have we got there? Can't quite make it out, haven't seen enough, but he does get jump out of the way there, so not really going to be a factor in the result. Ash Sutton, he's got himself into the lead there, but Harley Haber is still putting the pressure on, and we've got a minute left in this race.
Tom Alexander just in the back of shot there. He's still in third. Dylan O'Keefe, then Jordan Cox, Jaden Ransley, Michael Clemente. Whoa, it's willing here. Sutton carts him to the grass on the run to turn 5. And there's a reason why, because it's the last lap, and it's on like Donkey Kong.
A bit of biffo there mid-corner. Harley trying to unsettle Ash to try and get a nice run. This is the last opportunity now. Whoever leads into the last section here will win the race.
Look at this. Haber's going to go long way and try to stuff it up the inside at the last turn. He needs a dive bomb to be able to do it, but he needs the points in the series because he stands to extend his way up through into the points. He had a win earlier on. He's not going to quite get there. Sutton will win the race, but Haber has scored the top points for the night and put himself right into play in the carsales ARG eSport Cup. A win for the Brit. Haber is second. Alexander held on all the way through there to finish in third. We're getting ready for the first race of 2 tonight, round 4 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Formula 3 Dallaras on the famous Monza circuit. We're good to go. Aaron Noonan and Tony Delberto with you, getting ready for this one, and it is going to be a cracker. Luca Jackman on pole position, our wildcard driver, the Dutchman Niels Jangevel, driving for Track Tech Racing from New Zealand. We're off and rolling. 43 cars on the run down to turn 1. 20 minutes on the clock. Let's see if they all make it through the first chicane. In fact, one of them in the background has not even got anywhere near the postcode of the first chicane as they dial on down. Harley Haber's made the jump. The Kumho tyre car is off and rolling, but a spinner in the background. And I reckon that might have been Nathan Hurd, and this will be the absolute disaster zone that we thought it might be.
Absolute chaos. I actually thought for a second there we were going to get through that first chicane unscathed, but
wrong.
I was very wrong there. So we've got quite a few cars out of action at the moment.
No, we're in the fight. Contact there behind. Nathan Hearn off the road. The Gulf Western Oils car, another of those title rivals. That's at the second chicane.
All right, let's have a look at the Total replay here. Nathan Hearn. Let's see what transpires here.
Oh dear.
It's just offloaded.
Niels Langeveld, looks like, may have been into the back of the young Trans Am gun. Hearing through from virtual race control TD that Niels Langeveld is going to pick up a 30-second time penalty for that contact with Nathan Hearn. And in fact, here he is, serving.
That's going to ruin his race, unfortunately. Garth Tander, though, he's having a big battle here with
Look at this.
Timmy McReynolds, who is John Martin's pit crew.
Well, they're both going
and he can drive bloody good. So let's see if he can hold off Garth Tander. I don't reckon he would have thought he'd be racing against a Bathurst champion tonight and showing him how it's done. Very good on the sim, Timmy.
12 minutes to go in this first race, and this is the fight for 6th and 7th with Tim Macro just behind Garth Tander in that orange number 23 car at the back of shot. as they work their way through the second Les Mills.
Let's have a look at this replay here. Ash Sutton, he's crashed into the fence there and he's got a wheel hanging off. Let's check out how that happened. Let's have a look here. Jaden Ransley having another crack.
Yeah, moving forward here, that's Nathan Byrne in front with Aaron seated in the fluoro yellow car, just there. Of course, Trans Am driver these days works at DJRT Penske during the week and
He does.
has been a young gun in the Toyota 86 racing series. He's done a bit of everything. He's won his class at the Bathurst 12 hour. He's a very accomplished young driver who's had a go at just about everything. Speedway, he started in Speedway for point of view of getting good car control, and he certainly got it. It doesn't hurt when you're a great third generation driver. And Harley Haver's the man though. The Kumo car, number 21. He's got a controlling margin over Luca Giacomin. He's on his run home to the checkered flag, so he will score his second win from the last 3 races. So jumps from the Audi touring car last week at Watkins Glen into the Dallara Formula 3 car at Monza. He's going to get the job done. The kid is good. Final turn. Parabolica coming to the checkered flag. The first race in this round tonight of the car sales ARG eSport Cup will go to Harley Haver. Dominant, strong drives from he and the runner-up Luca Giacomin to the line. They are miles in front of the rest. 13 seconds, in fact. As we take a look at the starting grid for this race, TD, and Niels Langeveld, the Dutchman, will start from pole in the Track Tech car.
And Nathan Walkham, here we go, and the race is underway down into turn 1. Let's see what carnage can unfold.
We didn't get everybody through the first chicane in the first race. Let's see how they go in the second. They're all off and rolling. 43 cars on the run to the first chicane at Monza, and they funnel on through. Can they all make it through? No. No and no. Plenty of...
I think there was actually more carnage there than race 1 noons, and it's still continuing on the background.
But there were some smart drivers there who knew there was going to be a shunt, so they went to the escape road. And look at this, cars stuck on top of one another, and that is Dylan O'Keefe, 4th in the points coming into tonight. He is at the tail of the field. That will sting.
I think this might call for a bit of a safety car.
Drama here. That's Giacomin, the runner-up in race 1 involved. That's the second chicane. Oh boy, I thought everyone got their aggression out in the first race, but they seem to have a little bit left up. Tim Brooks in drama as well. Back to the front, Tom Randall, second spot in the tow on Langeveld and going for the lead down at the Ascari chicane. Randall's in the tow, trying to chase the Track Tech car across the road. He is up against the pit wall. He's tucking to that inside line. If he stays there, he'll end up on the famous Monza banking. He's that tight to the wall, but he will hug the inside line. Randall will not be able to get by at the first chicane, and Nathan Hearn gets himself up into the mix and, importantly, into that slipstream zone.
Yeah, Randall there lit the rears up, but Nathan Hearn on board now. It was a braking duel down to turn 1, and you see the slipstream now. Nathan's making good ground on Thomas, but he can't really go anywhere. The thing that interests me, though, how many times can you move on the straight? Is there a
63
limit?
by what I saw then. And I tell you what, there are penalties given in the aftermath of these races, and from memory of the report I saw during the week, Langeveld may have got himself 1 or 2 of those for a similar scenario last week. Of course, Barton Moore, so much experience in F3 cars in Australia, in Britain.
World Time Attack cars, TCR,
Porsche Carrera Cup.
The list just goes on and on and on for that bloke.
Just about everything. And now he's hunting for another position. End of lap 1, a couple of cars that were damaged in the opening stages of the race coming back out of the pit lane. If you don't really follow virtual sim racing, in the case of cars that have had crashes and accidents, around goes Barton Moore. Got stuck right in behind Tom Randall and Luke that manages to clear the area. But here's Aaron Seaton, who now has Harley Haver to contend with in the fight for P5 and P6.
So he's in the slipstream there, so let's see if he can have a bit of a run up into the second chicane.
Bit of a run.
Here we go.
He's got a fair run and he's got the inside now.
Cito made that a bit easy, I reckon.
Oh, not over yet, not over yet. Seaton can fight here because there is... No, can't get it done. He couldn't stay quite far enough around the outside. And this is Nathan Hearn, who's going to get a big tow. He's got a tow strap here. He's going to hook it on the back of Tom Randall in this fight for second spot. And Tom knows it too because he's already starting to move around and try to break the tow. But it's too late because the Gulf Western Oils car is in the tow. It's down the inside. He's got the move done. Let's go to the front of the field. Nathan Hearn's in a big fight with Tom Randall for second spot, and he joins us on the line. How are you going to work with Tom Randall here to catch the leader?
We're trying hard. We're swapping the position every time we get down the straight, trying to use the slipstream to our advantage. But yeah, Niels has got a lot of pace behind him. Obviously, as they just run a bit wide there. As well as that, with the aero wash. The aero wash is massive in these cars. So Tom, we lose about half a second to each other around that section of the track, and we've got to work back up, try and catch it down the straight. So, I don't know, we're giving it a red hot crack, but that's all we can do at the moment.
So Haber gets that position from Nathan Hearn. He's on an absolute mission. So his next one is Thomas Randall. And I reckon he's got 2.5 minutes to do it. He'll be able to get around him.
Run down, run straight Monza. You've called it. It could be Slipstream Central here, and that's what he gets. Now he makes the really aggressive run to the inside. I think Randall expected him to go the long way, and Haber stuffs it down the inside. He's racing for the title. He's through to P2. Big move from the young gun. We are up and about in the commentary box because I honestly thought, and I think Tom Randall thought, that Haber was going to drift back to the outside because there wasn't room. He made room and got it done.
That was a great move there. He did the little fakie to the left and then dived for the right and still made the corner.
Candy,
yeah,
and it got bought.
Oh,
round.
No, Randall. Around he goes. He'll be absolutely spewing.
Let's have a look at this again on the run. Down towards the first chicane. Looking outside, carts back inside just before the grass arrives. Late under brakes, gets it done, and you'll see on screen that is where we're heading next week. Round 5, we'll stay with the Formula 3 Dallara's TD, but we will head to Barcelona, the home of the Spanish Grand Prix. That's coming up Thursday, April 30, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
George Mediki's setting up beautifully there. Got a nice exit. He's going to have the slipstream advantage going into the second chicane here. So he might be able to get a run on Will Brown and get that position back. We spoke to him before the race, and he's absolutely loving this online racing, especially with...
Hey everyone, my name's Matt, and I'm the creator of the Nugget Project, and I'm currently racing... Hi everybody, and welcome to round 6 tonight of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. I'm Aaron Noonan, and we are coming to you tonight from the Melbourne Performance Centre, the home of Audi Sport Customer Racing. 5 rounds down in the series, 5 left to go, and tonight we are changing it up for you. It's not just the Audi touring car, it's not just the Dallara Formula 3 car. We are going to let our 44 drivers loose in both cars tonight. A qualifying and a race in the Audi, and a qualifying and a race session in the Formula 3 Dallara. Let's have a look at the way that the series is in the points coming into tonight. Harley Haber leads the way. 16 points the margin between he and Nathan Hearn, the Trans Am driver. Dylan O'Keefe is third, representing TCR Australia. Jaden Ransley, the young Kiwi, representing TCR New Zealand. He sits fourth, with Ash Sutton, our guest driver from the UK, sitting in position 5. Star driver tonight, well, who else? Michael Caruso makes his virtual racing debut in the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Of course, a former Supercars race winner this year. He's driving for Gary Rogers Motorsport in their Alfa Romeo TCR car. The venue, can't wait for this one. Phillip Island, the Grand Prix circuit, home of the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix, the original home of the great race, 4.4 kilometres, 12 turns. The outright lap record is still held by the Kiwi Simon Wills 20 years ago in the Barana Racing Formula Holden 94D Reina. Last week, highlights from Barcelona in the Formula 3 cars, and early on, that was Harley Haber in the background off the road. Oscar Piastri, our star driver, the young F3 star, took off out front. Ash Sutton, well, unfortunately, he took off. Contact here with James Golding sent both of them off the road and into the fence. Will Brown's had a tough season, and it got worse with the number 1 car put off the road and into the wall. Up front, Piastri, the young star who will drive in this year's FIA Formula 3 Championship, came home to take victory ahead of being reversed in the field. The top 20 positions were reversed. He started 20th and worked his way through to 3rd. Aaron Seaton up and about quite literally on the run down to turn 1. But Piastri started the fight back from 20th on the grid. He had amazing speed and got into a bit of a fight here with Aaron Cameron on the fringe of the top 10 as he worked his way up the order. He would get to third by the end of the race. There was plenty of action going on. Nathan Morecambe and Reece Gould just got together, rubbing wheels, and off the road went Gould. And then contact here between Nick Carroll sent Ash Sutton off the road in what was a tough night for the former British touring car champ. Up front, the series points leader though, Harley Haber in the Kumho tyre car, was out front to pick up another win. He has had unbelievably good form in this series in the last couple of weeks. Let's see how he goes tonight at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit as we swap from the Audi touring car to the Dallara Formula 3. Qualifying for the Audi touring cars is underway. The cars and drivers are on track as we speak. But before we pick up the action, here's a word from our special friends at Car Sales.
This is how I'd sell a car. Proper marketing. Oh, shit. Put effort into your photos. Value your car appropriately. Like $500, I don't know, take it. I hate it. It's got beautiful signalers. You can put CDs in there. The right pedal goes all the way down. And it's got, it's a gear shift. And it's a stick shift. Sold. Wait, shouldn't this be in the car?
Great to have you with us as we have Astron Tech qualifying underway rounds tonight of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup. And first up, the drivers are on board the Audi touring cars. Aaron Noonan with you. Matt Nolte is with me in commentary tonight. Matt, welcome along to you. Great to be back with you, albeit from very different parts of the country. It's great for us to come together, and we called the real thing TCR last year at Phillip Island. Now we get to do some eSport Cup racing. Cars on the track for a very short, sharp qualifying session that will determine the order for the first race tonight. This should be good fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, Noons. Yeah, it's a bit of deja vu, isn't it? We teamed up in, I think, June last year for the real ARG Cup down at Phillip Island. But like you said, Astron Tech qualifying underway here right now. We've just seen the cars and drivers out for practice just a few moments ago, and a beautiful day here at the island.
Cars getting themselves up to speed, and we've got a field of over 40, so finding some clear road for Astron Tech qualifying is going to be really, really hard. And if you've just joined us, we are going to have double trouble tonight. We're doing one race in the Audi touring car and another in the Formula 3 Dallara. Looking here at Garth Tander in the JMEC PEM 75 car. He's one of 6 drivers in the field tonight, Matt, who raced in TCR Australia at Phillip Island last year for real. The difference is this time around, he doesn't have his wife in the race. That was a bit of a drama last year when they went racing at Phillip Island.
It absolutely was. And what we saw from practice just a few moments ago too is finding that piece of racetrack to run on here without running into each other. We saw several big incidents in practice alone here, but with only 7 minutes and 45 seconds to go in this qualifying session to start with, the drivers are just now finding that bit of real estate to run on.
Times are dropping down. Let's jump on board and have a look at what a hot lap looks like from on board the Audi touring car with the 3-time Bathurst champ, Garth Tander.
Welcome to round 6 of the Car Sales ARG eSports Cup. We're at Phillip Island this Thursday for the first leg of what will be a 2-leg race, where we do the first leg in the Audi TCR car and then the second race in the Dallara F3 car. So we're in the Audi at the moment, running down into turn 1, hold 6 gear, keep the flow up, just kiss the apex curb, run the car wide, not too wide so we can set up for turn 2. Southern loop, really taily on entry, and then it wants to understeer through the apex and to the exit. Pick the throttle up as early as you can for the run down through turn 3. It's almost flat out through turn 3. On a good lap you get it flat. And then braking around the 130 metre mark for Honda. Really nervous in the rear, get the car turned. Watch not too wide on exit. Watch the wheel spin in second gear. Up to Siberia, got to keep the flow up, but the important thing here is the exit. Good exit, not too wide. Up through, pass through the kink on the run up to the hay shed. Hay shed flat. Just kiss the curb of the apex. Then up to Lukey Heights. Car's really edgy here, really nervous. Important to get the car up against the curb before the run. Braking downhill into MG. Rear of the car really dancing around here. Got to get a good run out of MG. That's one of our potential passing opportunities there. And then the run out of this second last corner. It's never had a name, that second last corner. Always call it turn 11. And then run out of there is important because you can sneak up the inside into the last corner, but it should be a pretty desperate battle to the line if you get that done. Let the car flow out nice and wide for the run down the front chute. 6th gear across the line. Great to be back in the TCR cars. There'll be plenty of door-to-door handle action on Thursday night. Check it out, 8 o'clock.
And that's a hot lap with Garth Tander around Phillip Island. It is a very busy track at the moment with just over 5 minutes left to go in Astron Tech qualifying for the first of our 2 races tonight. There's no reverse grids. It is qualify, race. The Audi touring car first, then the F3 car later. James Golding is the pace setter so far, Matt. 138.27. And one of our 3 wild cards, Cody Bircher, the young gun from Orange, who's a Formula Ford racer, who very recently did a test in an S5000 car, second fastest. These young guns are fast.
Yeah, plenty of seat time in the recent couple of weeks to get ready for this round here tonight. We're watching Thomas Randall hitting the finish line now in the 49 machine, so he's been driving anything with wheels in the last few weeks, and certainly a great addition to the ARG eSports Cup. Nick Carroll's in 10th position right now behind Nathan Hearn, and now Ransley goes up into 2nd position. Check out that margin, 0.08 of a second.
Nothing in it, Matt. That is so close, and we've still got time. 4.5 minutes on the clock. Aaron Borg now jumps up to 3rd. So the wild cards are performing because they are 3-4 of the 3 that we have. The other one's Lachlan Beneath, the Formula 4 driver, and he's been setting some fast times. Tannen out of 2nd spot. Look at the margin, Matt. 0.0005. There is nothing in it. This is good stuff.
And these are numbers that you and I both love watching. When they get down to that 4th number at the end, I got a feeling there'll be someone else in between Tander and Ransley. There's far too much real estate between those 2 now. Bircher back to 5th with Sutton. Harley Haber, bike off at 8th position. Then Martin in 9th. And Nathan Hearn completes the top 10. We've seen him in Trans Am competition.
Looking here at the Panther Fuels car, 116, Ash Sutton, the former British touring car champion, at the helm of that car. He's 6th fastest at the moment, Matt. And he's had a year where when he's run up front, he has been really, really hard to beat. But last week in the Formula 3 cars that we had at Barcelona, had a shocker, had contact here and there, was off the road, all sorts of drama. He's got a roof back on his head tonight. So I guess that gets him back into his comfort zone a little bit more as we ride here with Ben Bargwana, who's got the duties tonight in the Burson Auto Parts car, 117. Of course, he's been sharing with his dad, Jason, over the course of the year. But Ben has done more rounds than Jason. I think that's, again, the young guns are the ones spending more time on these sims and getting their eye in faster.
And Senior Bugs, who had me saying that, not here tonight. He's got work commitments. I mean, well, this should be the commitment to go racing tonight.
This is the work. Yes. You don't need to do real work. This is the good fun work. Bargwana at the moment is 17th in 117. He's behind Nick Carroll on the road. So your order is, have a look at those times, Matt. 800ths between the top 4, 2 minutes 40 on the clock. Not far off there, Bircher, Sutton, Haber, less than 2/10 cover the top 7. Here's Michael Caruso, debut tonight. He is our star driver for round 6 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Of course, driving for Gary Rogers Motorsport this year in their carsales TCR Australia program, and he's still finding his way. He is racing tonight from Melbourne Performance Centre. There is Robbo behind the wheel. Paddle shifts. You can't do rapid downshifts like he normally does in a supercar when you're running the paddles.
Yeah, fastest man in the West when it comes to gear changes on any given day. So Caruso finishes another lap with just a whisker under 2 minutes remaining. Half a second covering 19 cars. Back to Medicki in 19th position. That's George Medicki behind Tim Brook, a former Toyota 86 Racing Series champion as well. We go back to the backside of the circuit now, watching the 5 machine.
And this is very different from the Trans Am car that we saw George race on the streets of Adelaide. Of course, we've got drivers from a variety of Australian Racing Group categories, and Trans Am is indeed one of those. A minute and a half to go in qualifying, and he's trying to clear some track as he gets into a bit of a dice here. You never want to be trying to pass cars when you're trying to set qualifying laps. He's 19th at the moment. He's only half a second away from pole position, but he's 19th.
And needs space. He'll get another lap in here. He probably needs to back off a little bit and give himself some space for the cars ahead here with just over a minute remaining. Golding still quickest, but it's 5,000ths of a second. Back to Tander, Ransley, Borg and Bircher, the top 5 here in Astron Tech qualifying.
Chelsea Angelo at the wheel of car number 2, the Astron Tech entry. And as Matt mentioned, this is Astron Tech qualifying for the first of our 2 races tonight. We'll have a break between them and refire and jump into the Formula 3 cars. So great way that we can do this and give the drivers a real challenge. This is our series points leader, Harley Haber, just 16 clear of Nathan Hearn coming into tonight, but he is a model of consistency. He is 7th at the moment, time ticking down. Can he find something this time around? Onto the Gardner Straight to get down to that control line and see if he can find. He doesn't need much time to move up the order. He's less than 2 tenths away from the pole position time, but he doesn't move the marker, but he will get another chance.
In fact, he's tied with Sutton for the same time in 6th and 7th position. As we check in with Nathan Morecambe now, the HMO customer racing car heading down the Gardner Straight. He'll be the first to get the checkered flag, one would think, here in this very quick qualifying session. Is anybody going to rattle the time of James Golding? I don't think so.
So it could be the former GRM teammates, Golding and Tanner, on the front row of the grid. Brett Holdsworth finishes his lap. He stays in 22nd, Matt. But look at the field. They are charging on through. One of them out in the grass on the exit of the last corner. Chelsea Angelo finishes her lap. She's 26th. Jay Hansen was in the grass. He went faster. He made it to position 8. Imagine if he'd stayed on the road.
He'd be hating the fact that he did make that mistake, and that's not uncommon here at Phillip Island. Through to finish the lap is Caruso. We just saw across the line now to finish. I just held my breath to see where the time would finish in that session here, but Golding to Tander in the smallest margin we could probably get so far this year. 5,000ths of a second. Braden Wilmington, we've seen him in S5000 competition, and son of Gary Wilmington, who we saw for so many years in the privateer ranks, didn't we?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a Wilmington, Matt, without a green car. Definitely a lurid scheme, and he's heading off to pit lane to end this qualifying session. So it doesn't look like anyone has anything for James Golding in that number 31 Valvoline, of course, flying the flag for S5000. He's racing for GRM in that category this year, the new open wheeler category that captured so much attention last year. But I think that's it. We are done and dusted, and qualifying sorted, and the Astron Tech qualifying pole position will go to James Golding. He's on the line. Hey, James, well done. Good job. But do you know how close it was?
Yeah, look, I'm just looking at the times now, actually. To get on the pole by 100th, that's awesome. Especially over Garth Tand. Obviously, you had a bit of history being teammates there in Supercars, so it's just awesome. Tops it off.
Jimmy, it's Matt Nolte. Good job there, buddy, out there. You looked really smooth and in control.
Yeah, no, really good, really happy. I haven't actually done that much practice this week. Last week I did a fair bit and had a horrible run, so I thought this week I'm just going to go into it fresh, and it's turning out pretty good. So try and stay clean in the race and hopefully keep it on P1.
Good luck, James. Good to chat.
Cheers, guys.
There he is, our pole man for the first race tonight, James Golding. Field of over 40 cars. Yeah, go ahead.
That's scary that he hasn't had that much practice in the lead up to this, and in just 9 laps he managed to secure Astron Tech pole.
He should practice less if he punches out pole positions like that. He should put his feet up and not get on the sim during the week. Golding and Tander front row, Ransley and Borg second row, Bircher and Sutton third row. So 2 of the wild card entrants are in the top 3 rows of the grid. Our series points leader, Harley Haber, he's in the mix as he always is. He and Jay Hansen are on row 4. John O'Bykoff and John Martin round out the 10 in what is a really tight field. The top 10 covered by just 0.3 of a second. Stunning.
Nathan Hearn will start out of position 11 with Jordan Cox. We didn't see much of JC in that session. Nick Carroll and Dylan O'Keefe. Will Brown down in 15th position. Declan Fraser, Ben McMillan, back to Ben Barguana and Tim Brook completing the 20th position there on row number 10.
Remember, there's no reverse 20 tonight, so it's all about getting a good position and moving forward. Mediki and Holdsworth next, the 2 Trans Am drivers. Tim McReynolds, Andrew Waite, Tony Delberto with Chelsea Angelo. Thomas Randall, long way back on the grid. He's not that far back normally in this series. Then Nathan Morecambe. Michael Caruso will start 29th alongside Jason Gomersall, the TCM driver in the number 35 unit entry. And the cars, Matt, they keep on coming. It's a big field.
So cool to see these names out there rescored. Aaron Cameron, 32nd position. He had a great run here last year in June. Aaron Seaton from 34th. Tim Macro, Barton Moore down in the 18th row. Man, that's going to be one to watch. And Ricky Capo and Jet Johnson down in 39th and 40th positions.
That's a long way to come from that far back as we're getting ready for Round 6, Matt, of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup. Wherever you're watching, thanks for tuning in. It's great to have this competition that we can cover all week and get excited for and get ready for. Here we go. Audi's on the grid, Phillip Island, Grand Prix Circuit, Race 1, Round 6 of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup. James Golding to the left of screen, car 31 for Team Valvoline. J-Mech Racing's Garth Tanner alongside car 75. The drivers all logging in as their cars appear on the grid. They have lined the Gardner straight. We will be racing for 25 minutes, Matt. The cars are getting ready to go. This is the tin top race of the evening. The open wheelers will be later on, but it's away and racing towards turn 1, and it's all about the start between Golding and Tanner, the former GRM supercar teammates. 4 wide on the run, down towards turn 1. Round the outside, the wild card kid, Cody Bircher, goes to the front.
3 wide through the first turn, Noons. There's some still 4 wide in the mix. I thought we were going to have a big incident going down to turn number 1, but they settled down into Southern Loop for this 25-minute race. And how cool is it to see the cars right down to the back at the final turn?
Tander already making moves, Matt. He's down the inside and having a look at the leader on the run through Stoner Corner. He'll be on the wrong side for Honda Corner, but he wants to get across and take the lead, and that's what he's done. Tander to the front. The pole man, James Golding, in that Valvoline 31. What is he, P7, P8? He's nowhere in the field. That pole position has not worked for him, and there was a car off at turn 4 there in the background as they all start to sort themselves out. Another one round there. Oh, drama at Siberia.
Classic Siberia too, where the car actually got straightened off. That's Jono Bykoff on the right-hand side against the tyre wall as they work their way behind the back of the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit up towards the hay shed for the first time. There's your series leader in 4th position, Harley Haber behind Sutton, but the leader is Garth Tander coming down to the hairpin.
Over the top, dropping down from Lukey Heights, and it's a bit of a bumping match there. Harley Haber and Sutton, they made some contact, and that opens the door for Ransley to get through. The young Kiwi pounces on 4th place. We're riding on board with Jordan Cox. He is the quiet achiever in this series. He always finds a way to get in the mix. He is position 6 in the series point score coming into tonight's 6th round of the series. End of lap 1, 25-minute timed race, and our pole sitter James Golding now is on the back of our series leader Harley Haber. The run to turn 1. Let's see if he's got some action here. The slipstream will start to play into account, but the Kumho tyre car hangs on out front.
And absolutely no chance to settle down. That was only 1 lap. Had more highlights than what you'd get for the entire race in some categories as we go around the bottom onto Bass Straight here. Lap number 2, Tander, Bircher, Sutton, Ransley and Haber. Golding trying to right the wrongs of that first lap. He's in 6th position ahead of Cox. Nathan Hearn in 8th, Martin in 9th. And how's the effort from Ben Bargwana up to 10th position?
He's made serious ground, and now Bircher puts a move on Tander at turn 4, and Tander gets contact from Ash Sutton. That lets the young gun Bircher off the hook. He was 6th in the Formula 4 series last year. Look at the switch. Sutton makes a dive on Tander at Siberia. Elbows the big fella out of the way. Ransley's in the mix too. Haber's coming along for the ride. That's how easy it is to go from the lead back to P5. They know how to use the bumpers. They can't do that later on in race 2 tonight.
And they settle back into a single line. You can't go side by side across the top here. We're looking from Jordan Cox's perspective. 6th position, that's Harley Haber just ahead, looking to make the move. Tander should cover it off, or not, as Haber dives down the inside. Good move.
That's for P4. Series leader working his way forward. Tander trying to fight back and get that J-Mech 75 car back down the inside. The Gardner Straight awaits. And it's the young gun, Cody Bircher. He's one of 3 wild cards in the field tonight. We have a wild card race the night before each round of the series. The top 3 earn their way onto the grid for this evening's event. And the young gun Bircher from Orange in New South Wales, that's his margin. Sutton, Ransley, Tander now with the nose down the inside on Haber. Contact at turn 1. Series leader is off the road and through the grass. Can he keep it in a straight line? There's plenty of spare track for him to pop out onto. He's lost ground, but no contact. His car is straight.
And he was lucky that there was nobody really in the vicinity then when he returned. It's a really scary part of the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. He drops down into 8th position. O'Keefe just behind him now. And Bircher leads from Sutton, just like that. They exit the hairpin. And now more passing happening down here at what used to be called the Honda hairpin. Look at Haber exiting their way down to Siberia, which really has been the action point so far in this race. More contact now. going into Siberia. Did the car go around? No, it didn't.
That was Cox. Jordan Cox in car number 6. Total replay, Matt. Let's have a look here at what was going on the run through Hayshed. Now this was the Sutton and Tander moment where they had a little bit of a rub, and then Haber was trying to make his way back on through, and they were side by side, so that was quite willing. Let's have a bit of a chat though to our series points leader Harley Haber, back in P7 now. What's your take on the touch with Garth Tander, mate?
Yeah, mate. He's got his elbows out tonight, doesn't he? It's look, less than ideal, mate, but we're still in the tow, so we'll push up and try and collect some points.
Now, tell us what you really think. That was way too political, your answer.
Come on, mate. I can't say what I really think, mate. It's
yeah. You can. You can just talk to us.
We won't tell anyone, we promise.
Look,
hey, Harley, this was always going to be that round, wasn't it, that was going to really blow up for you?
Yeah, mate. There's a bit of a mischief going on up here. There we go. Yeah, mate, it's leading the championship. It's here we go. We're back on the top of Garth here. This could be interesting.
We get back to live shots, and Harley is making a run at Tander on the run through turn 3, and Garth will cover the line. John Martin is the car just up in front in the Wall Racing Mobile 124 car. This is looking a little bit willing here. Don't forget you've got this points lead to protect. You don't need to do anything silly here. Oh, they've just taken care of one another.
That's. I'm just trying to get over the amount of incidents we've had already at Siberia in one race. John Martin returns to the circuit and it's the Wall Racing entries, but drops a fair way down the field after that incident. There's so many incidents have gone on. We've still got 18 minutes and 40 seconds of racing still to go here. Incredible.
Tander was involved in that one, Matt. I gave up after the first night of racing that I called to this series. I had my pen out and my paper to keep a track of who had made contact with who and what was going to be an incident to talk about later on, and I gave up because I filled up about a whole ream of paper. So John Martin here is getting himself up and rolling again. He's position 8 as we go back to the lead, and there's been a change. Ash Sutton is through to the lead. He's got by Cody Bircher. Jaden Ransley's tucked in on for the slipstream towards turn 1. So the top 3 have broken away from Nathan Hearn, who comes into tonight second in the points behind Harley Haber, who is the guy who is fighting with in the series and indeed in this race. So Ransley stepped it up in the last couple of rounds. The Track Tech racing car, the young Kiwi who's representing TCR New Zealand. It's great to see that we've got drivers of all different backgrounds from all the ARG categories. We've got guest drivers. We've got our star driver every week. This week it's Michael Caruso having his first run, and we haven't seen too much of Robbo in this race, and he's showing up on our leaderboard here in the top 20. So he's had a drama, but have a look at that. Bottom of the 20, Jet Johnston. He started 40th, Matthew. He's now 20th. He's passed half the field in 4 laps. That's stunning.
Yeah. An incredible start, isn't it? But still half the field to get past if he wants to get to the pointy end. So our third different leader.
Matt. Be positive.
Very positive.
Half the field, and then
it's pretty good.
He's got to pass another half the field. Come on, give the kid a break.
You just got to keep him real about this, don't you? I mean, that's 20 cars, but there's another 20 if you want to catch Sutton up in the lead at the moment. Ransley, Bircher, and Haber, who we just spoke to a few moments ago, run in 4th ahead of O'Keefe, and Penbarguana continues to move up the field now in 6th position from near bottom of the top 20.
I tell you what, Nathan Hearn's dropped off our timing screen. He's outside the top 30, so something's happened to the Gulf Western Oil driver who, as I mentioned just before, is second in the points coming into tonight's round. On to the Gardner Straight. What a view it is of the Grand Prix circuit that was opened way back, 1956. It was closed for a decade. It came back for the return of major motorcycle competition in Australia with the Australian Grand Prix and a famous win by Wayne Gardner in 1989. Of course, it's hosted so much other racing as we see Sutton, Ransley and Bircher. We're just hearing from race control a penalty for our series points leader, if I'm right, a 30-second hold penalty for Harley Haber. Now, is that for the contact with Garth Tander at turn 1, or is that for another incident?
Or is that not being upfront and honest with us about his thoughts going into this race? Oh, man, that's a tough break, too. It's going to drop him right to the bottom of the field from 4th position. Harley Haber, black flag, and will come into the pits and be held for 30 seconds. Incredible. While Sutton continues to lead on your VHT leaderboard, Ransley, Bircher, You'll see Haber drop out of this mix and put O'Keefe and Bargwanna up into 4th and 5th. Then it's Fraser just behind in 7th, Golding in 8th position, Martin and Cameron. Another mover, Noons, in the field here. Aaron Cameron from well outside the top 20 now sits inside the top 10.
This is the sort of series, Matt, if you stay out of trouble, you're a big chance to make up plenty of ground. Ransley for the lead over the top of Lukey Heights. He was lining that one up for a couple of corners. Now Sutton tries to get back down the inside into the final turn. There's an overlap here, and the Panther Fuels car is in the gap. He's going to have to be careful here. There's a little bit of a bump. That puts him wide, and that opens the door for Cody Virtue to move back through to grab second and have a run on the leader. 15 minutes on the clock, 10 minutes down, and this one's tight between the top two.
They might use a side draft, but he didn't need it in the end, so Sutton goes back into the lead. Bircher into second place now as we get closer towards the halfway mark, this 25-minute race. Race number 1 of carsales ARG eSports Cup here at Phillip Island Grand Prix Circuit. What a place. We'll see the S5000 cars out later on a place that's really built for him, isn't it?
It sure is, Matt. I tell you what, a guy who's built to race at Phillip Island, but he's not at the moment. Michael Caruso is joining us on the line for his debut in the carsales ARG eSport Cup, and I've heard a report that you've been disqualified, Robbo. What is going on?
Yeah, mate. It's I don't know. We were sitting at the starting grid, and I got a jump start. I didn't even know what I was doing, to be honest. I was talking to the boys to ask them how to start this thing, so a bit disappointing. Anyway, got turned around only a couple of laps in as well by my good mate Tony D. So all a bit of fun.
Up until that point, Caruso, was how did you find your experience out there tonight?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild mid-pack, I'll tell you that, boys.
It's like real life.
There was so much going on. I thought I was going to be busy worrying about myself, but dodging a few cars, all in good fun. So, looking forward to getting back out there later on.
Well, the good thing is that you get to jump into a Formula 3 open wheeler. Don't forget, you're the national champ of 2003. No pressure.
I knew you'd have the stats on that, mate. I knew it.
Good luck. We'll hope to see you back on the grid.
Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
There he is, Michael Caruso. He's racing tonight from the Melbourne Performance Centre, their workshop in the outer suburbs of Melbourne, and about 4 metres away on another simulator is Garth Tander, who at the moment is running P10 as we continue to look at this fight, Matt. These top 3, this is so close between Bircher, Ransley and Sutton. Ben Bargwanna, drive of the race just about so far, from 17th on the grid, he's now up to position number 5 and working his way forward. Right on the back now of Dylan O'Keefe in that GRM number 33, and looks like Dylan's got a bit of damage to the front of that car as well. So Bargwanna, red hot chance here to grab 4th.
Every time you have a glimpse of the VHT leaderboard, he's up another position. It's Ben Bargwanna we talk about. Another move being made just behind this battle pack. The 31 dives down the inside. So James Golding, who started from pole position, trying to move his way back up into the top 5. And still plenty of time to play out with just under 12 and a half minutes remaining in this race at Phillip Island today.
And that is an eternity. 12 minutes in this carsales ARG eSport Cup. Plenty can happen. Drivers have gone up and down the field. You almost get giddy watching them go up and down your leaderboard as we ride on board here with the leader, Cody Bircher, with backing from Tony Lay Motor Group. Of course, the Lay family in orange, so well known in motor racing circles, with Tim Lay, a long-time competitor in a bunch of different categories, V8 Supercar Enduro driver and Formula Holden and Carrera Cup, and a Bathurst 6-hour winner, of course, as well. He can lay claim to be the reigning 6-hour champion still, because of course that event's been postponed and delayed until November, competing at the Bathurst International, when the 6-hour is part of that event. As Ransley now goes to the lead at turn 1, Matt, the young Kiwi takes over the front running. So we've got young Kiwi racing and representing TCRNZ versus a wildcard versus a guest driver. So we've got a real blend here, but there's nothing in it with them all behind the wheel of this fantastic Audi touring car on the best track just about for these cars as they fire their way through turn 3. Turn 4 has been a big overtaking place, and Ransley knows it. Look at him block that inside line.
It parks it down the middle here as another move on the outside. Great shot from the inside of the hairpin at turn number 4. between Bircher and Sutton, but it's Ransley who's had experience here over the past couple of years. He was a wild card in the Toyota 86 racing series a couple of years back, so he's no stranger to driving around this very fast Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. So with just over 10.5 minutes remaining in this race, Ransley, Bircher, Sutton, O'Keefe and Golding now sits in 5 with Bargwanna, probably our vote for driver of the race so far. Then it's Fraser, Martin, Cameron and Garth Tander completing the top 10. You can see on the leaderboard down there going all the way down to 40th position. Guys like Brown and Randall well outside of contention here today.
Just getting out of the way there, one of the lap cars, the Rondo car, moving aside. I think that may have been Will Brown, who looks like he's had a tough old night of things. Hey, let's have a chat to Tony D'Alberto behind the wheel of the number 50 machine. He sits in position 18 at the moment. Hey, you've raced here for real in a bunch of different cars, but does that mean anything? Does it help you at all for tonight's round?
Definitely not. Bloody commentator's curse right there, boys.
You know how it feels. You've done it to many people this year.
I have. I just got a cop to hit up the bum, but going a lot better than last week at the moment. But I did have an off-track excursion early in the race, which lost me a heap of spots. But anyway, I'm having a bit of fun out here, and surely the race is almost over, isn't it?
It's not far away, mate. 9.5 minutes on the clock. Will Brown's listening in from Toowoomba as well. You're not even near my leaderboard, Will Brown. What is going on with you in car 1 in 34th place?
I didn't load in. I had a problem before, so I started from pit lane about nearly a lap down. So
you've got the best seat in the house for the fight for the lead here between the top 3.
I'm going to be in on it soon.
Oh, you better not be.
Or you're going to go out just as they start their last lap?
No, I'm trying to unlap myself. That's what I'm going to say.
He's got his excuse.
Just in case of the safety car. Nah, I'm having a bit of fun out here, actually. I'm actually enjoying this track in these cars and the F3. So, yeah, just disappointed we didn't load in. We qualified a bit better on like 12th, which wasn't too bad compared to normal.
Hey, Swill, it's Nolts. Do you reckon you can get a top 10 out of this now with 8 minutes to go?
A top 10 from 34th?
Come on, mate. I believe in you.
I've got a better chance of Mum bringing me an ice cream right now than that.
He's good, but he's not that bloody good.
Yeah. I'm not in my Hyundai GT3 car right now. I'm in an Audi.
Oh, ice cream. Now I'm hungry, you two. Hey, get back to racing. You stay out of that lead fight, will you?
I'm coming for them. They're mine.
Oh, good luck. They're fast. That's the great thing, Matt, that we can do with the carsales ARG eSport Cup. We can dial in all around the world, all around Australia, chat to the drivers, have some fun. There's not much fun going on here because the top 3 are deadly serious about this race. 8 minutes on the clock. Ransley, Bircher and Sutton with a margin back to James Golding now that's 9 seconds. So it's very much a fight for the win between these 3. There's no one else really in the mix, and no matter what Will Brown thinks, he is not in the mix. He's way behind. He's outside the top 30 right now, but he is the next car on the road.
As much as he was smiling in that voice, you can tell he's frustrated because he loves to win. He's competitive. He's our reigning series champion. He's down the inside. Another move at Siberia. We'll see Sutton go back into that second position now. There's still plenty of time on his side. And Brown will fire back. There's no question about it. Just not today.
No, we'll put him in the open wheeler car for a little bit later on and see if he can bounce back. The question is now, can Sutton and Bircher get back to Ransley? And I think it's a question here of having a look and seeing what that slipstream's like on the main straight, because remember that the finish line at Phillip Island, it's a fair way down from the last corner. There's time if you get a run on someone with a slipstream to get your way through and get to the lead before you get to that start-finish line. So just because you come off this final turn second, it's not the end of the world, but the fight is going to be between these top 3 for the win in this first race in round 6 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Hey Matt, we get asked a lot by our viewers about some of the intricacies of iRacing and sim racing, and one of the things is about the conditions, and it's locked in terms of the weather for these races. So I can give you the weather update from Phillip Island tonight. It's cool, partly cloudy. There you go. That's the official word from series organisers.
Yeah, we'd love to see days like this down there. 18 degrees at the island. Yep, that's pretty much ideal to be watching this race with just over 6 minutes remaining. They've got 8 seconds, Noons, this top 3 back to Golding. That's a staggering effort considering they've been arguing over first, second and third for the better part now of nearly 10 minutes.
Fastest lap of the race, Matt. Jaden Ransley, our current leader, 1:38. 38.20, but they're lapping in the 39s now, these top few drivers, but it's still the same pace as the chasers. Golding next from O'Keefe and Bargwanna, Martin, Declan Fraser, Garth Tander and Aaron Cameron. That is the top 10 as they run at the moment with just under 6 minutes left to go. The run through Hayshed, that fast right-hander that takes them up towards the sweeping left. There's some lap traffic up in front. That is going to come into play. They will get to those cars before the end of this race.
It'll only get worse as we get closer to the end as well. Brown, you can forget about him. He's a lap down at the back of this group. He's just enjoying as much as he can this top three battle as it continues. Your VHT leaderboard still shows Ransley as they come up towards the lap traffic here with 5 minutes and change in this race at Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit here. He tucks in nicely for the run down the Gardner Straight.
This is a bit of a litmus test. Let's see, can he get by before they get to the line? That's a crucial thing to know for the last lap. He can't quite get there this time, but he's going to try to go on with it. Outside at turn one, that's where a brave racing driver takes their car because they know they've got the inside for the Southern Loop. Good racing room between these guys, really respectful stuff. And look now for Bircher to try to fill the gap as Ransley tries to get that car turned on the exit of Southern Loop. He can't do it. Bircher's down the inside. They'll go side by side through turn three. The sweeper, named in honour of the great Casey Stoner, and then hard under brakes for turn four, which once upon a time was much further down the road, Matt. When they rebuilt this track, it was shortened, and that's where it is right now. But this is where the fight's at. Will Brown, he's like a pest. He won't go away. He did not pay for a ticket to be in the grandstand seat for this race.
If they were to extend that hairpin back to its original day, the runoff would end up in that lake just behind the back of that camera shot.
It's happened before, way baback in the day. It did happen before.
Across the top, around the back of Hayshed we go. So under 4 minutes remaining with lap traffic starting to play a part in this race. Sutton, Ransley and Birch are still the top three. Bargwanna has settled into sixth position now. Behind them is Martin, Fraser, Tander and Cameron. Outside the 10, you've got Hanson, Wilmington up to 12th. Timothy Brook in 13th. McReynolds, Brett Holdsworth in 15th. Chelsea Angelo 16th. Tony D'Alberto 17th ahead of Lockie Maneve. And Stephen Hoinville just being passed by Jonathan Bykoff there back in 19th and 20th position.
And that's Ricky Capo in the 92 car that you mentioned there. We've got a bit of a change with our names on our screen. It catches us all out, don't worry, mate. I tell you what, lap traffic's coming into play, and the car that we are going to see very shortly is the car sales car, number 4, Mike Sinclair at the wheel. He's 33rd, and the leaders are about to get up behind him. Golding here. This is the battle pack that's behind. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Golding, O'Keefe, Ben Bargwanna, and this man, John Martin, at the wheel of car 24. Remember, he was one of, I did the recount, 7 drivers that were in TCR Australia at Phillip Island last year who are racing tonight. I said 6 earlier on. It should be 7. My bad.
That's okay. We all make mistakes. We must be 1-1 so far. It's only early days. Heading down towards the Honda hairpin here. So we're looking back at the battles here outside the top 3. On the top with John Martin now in the wall racing prepared entry out of the Honda hairpin and down towards Siberia. Closing stages, you can just start to feel the pressure rising here. It's been on for the first 3 guys pretty much since the lights went out some 23 minutes ago.
Not long to go. Just over 2 minutes on the clock, and those top 3, they're 9 seconds away down the road from this pack that we are riding on board with. John Martin is 7th in the number 24 car, and the vibe of these races tends to be that when we get to the final 5 minutes, the order has settled. The fights really tend to stop, but I don't think that's going to be the case in this one because you've got the top 3 fighting for the top 3 podium spots. You've got this pack for positions 4, 5, 6 and 7. Fraser and Tander are having their own fight. Jay Hanson's a little bit of a loner next in position 10. Braden Wilmington, great job in 11th. Aaron Cameron, great job in 12th. Then it's Tim Brook, Tim McReynolds and Brett Holdsworth rounding out the top 15. Minute and a half on the clock. The win is on the line at Phillip Island. First of 2 races tonight. Great to have you wherever you're watching. It's our double trouble evening where we swap the cars between races and we get into the Formula 3 car for the next races. I mentioned Tander and Fraser. The young gun has put a move on the JMEC driver. That's for position 8.
It's getting hot though. The 777, the red hot Korea's entry from Mackay in far north Queensland. Has got Garth Tander for company right now in 7th and 8th position. We must point out too, Noons, if we get to the line with 1 second to go still, we get an extra lap in.
I'm all for an extra lap. This is good. I want one.
Might just get it here. Down to the hairpin we go, looking at Declan Fraser and Tander, who's caught up in the earlier race incident in this part of the circuit down at Siberia. Behind them you've got Hansen in 10th position. But up front still Sutton, Bircher and Ransley have been trading the lead, 2nd and 3rd, for pretty much this entire race. Tander tucks in behind the back of the Red Hot Courier's entry. Around the back past the hay shed we go in the closing moments of this race.
I'm having a look on our timing screen, Matt, for our series leader, Harley Habe. Picked up a penalty earlier on. He is 29th in the race. He gets to re-qualify when we swap to the Formula 3 cars for the next race. Here are our leaders. Ash Sutton onto the pit straight. This is close. Have a look at the clock. Have a look at the line. He will get across just before. You called it before. With 1 second to go, we will get one more lap of racing. 4.45 kilometres. It's on between Sutton and Bircher. They've kind of dropped away Ransley. Mike Sinclair is the lap car just in front, but he steps aside because he knows that the leaders were right with him and they are racing for the win. Good driving there, good awareness, gets out of the way, lets them get on with it.
I was thinking about that number on the previous lap. I thought it might have been 5 or 6 seconds, but that was pretty much 1 second at the line. So last lap for Sutton and Bircher. Ransley sits back in that 3rd position now. Brown, of course, a lap down in the HMO customer racing entry. Get the feeling, Bircher. Remember, he speculated earlier on that run out of the final turn to see how much he needed to be in that draft to get to the finish line first. Can he do it, though, with half a lap remaining in this race?
We are about to find out if one of our 3 wildcards in tonight's round can get up there for a race win. Final time through the hay shed. Ash Sutton has absorbed plenty of pressure. He spent some time in P1. He's hung out in P2. He had a taste of P3. Didn't like that one. He's been back to the lead for the last little while, and he's got it covered over the top of Lukey Heights. If he gets the next corner right, you can put down the glasses, write down the stats book, the race win. But let's see if Bircher can at least give him a run to the line, get into the slipstream, and at least make him earn it. I don't think he's close enough.
No, don't think he is either. He's just broken the back of this battle. And Ash Sutton heading around the final turn under the Melbourne Australia Bridge in what's been an exciting race here today. Runs it out towards the wall. It's going to be about a car length. And Ash Sutton wins here at Phillip Island for Panther Fuel. Bircher will be second, and it was less than 0.2 of a second. Ransley will finish in 3rd. We go back to the battle for the minor positions here. As we watch the 75, Tander pulls out. He's going to come out, or is he? Side by side. Oh, he misses it. Only just, Noons.
That was so tight. He gets position 9. Fraser hangs on for position 8. Aaron Cameron just finishes things off there a little bit. Not how I would be finishing my car race, particularly if I had to pay the repair bill. But there is a great job from Cody Bircher in that number 19 car. Young gun. A lot of our viewers might not have heard of him. 6th in last year's Australian Formula Ford National Series. He's a young gun from Orange in New South Wales, and he's taken it up to some of our series regulars tonight. So let's see how he goes when we swap cars and jump into the Formula 3 car for the second race tonight. But there's a pattern here, Matt. Have a look at those first 9 or 10 names in the list. How many young drivers are in there? The sim generation, the guys to beat. Let's have a chat to our race winner. Actually, we've got him on the line. We'll get to Ash Sutton in just a sec. Let's dial into Garth Tander, who just missed out on grabbing P8 right on the line. Hey, tell me about that incident with Harley Haber down at turn 1, mate. Let's have a chat to our race winner, Ash Sutton. It's been a little while since we've chatted. It's been a little while between virtual trophies. Here it is. I'm handing it to you now. Congratulations. That was a good fight between your top 3.
Yeah, it was good. Qualifying, we just didn't quite get the lap that we needed. So had to fight our way back through. But yeah, I think after the mayhem into turn one, it was all good from there on, really.
What about the change to the Formula 3 car? Do you have to recalibrate the brain?
Yeah, obviously it's a completely different style of car, full stop. So you've got to adjust yourself in that respect. But unfortunately, we've just not had no luck in this car in particular. I don't think we've actually finished an F3 race without being taken out. So hopefully tonight's going to be different, or today's going to be different.
I was going to say, what time is it where you're racing? I think you're about 9 hours behind Australian Eastern time. So what is it, about lunchtime, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10 to 12. So yeah, getting ready for some lunch.
All right, no lunch just yet. Get yourself ready for that second race. Good job.
Lovely. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
There he is, Matt Ash Sutton, our winner from the UK. Let's have a look on the VHT leaderboard of our race results of race 1. And Sutton, Bircher and Ransley were the names we said for most of that race, Matt, and they finished 1, 2, 3.
And led by nearly 10 seconds back to Golding. That's what stood out for me, the fact those three could battle like they did and pull out that kind of margin on Golding. Best on ground had to be Ben Barguana. 5th position in that race from the bottom of the top 20. Dylan O'Keefe, 6th. John Martin, Declan Fraser, Garth Tander and Jay Hansen completing the top 10 in this action-packed race here today.
Good stuff, wasn't it? Really enjoyed that one. The first of our 2 races tonight in round 6 of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup. We'll give the drivers a little bit of a break, get their heads into Formula 3 gear for race 2. But our star driver tonight is Michael Caruso, joining the field for the first time. He's one of the big signings for the Car Sales TCR Australia Series this year. We caught up with him during the week.
Coming into this year, I was really excited, not only to join back up with Gary Rogers Motorsport. I mean, I started my professional career with Gary and he gave me my chance. To come back here and now race in TCR, joining up with Valvoline, who partnered with me back then all those years ago, it's a really great opportunity because that marriage of the three of us worked really successfully, and that's something that I can see working well with us going forward. It's disappointing that the season has stopped and we're all, sitting by the sidelines, but totally understandable with what we're facing in the world at the moment. But, for myself, I was really comfortable in the car, although I only got a few days before we went to the Grand Prix driving the Alpha. It seemed to work really well with me. We qualified on the front row and, then it all sort of stopped. But, it's sort of given me an opportunity to reflect on what I have learned in that short period of time and what I can try to work on when we get back to racing. And, there's no doubt you're always improving yourself, and particularly in a race car like this that's very different to what I've driven. The front wheel drive aspect of it is one thing. Obviously it's a left-hand drive car as well. So, understanding that and how I can get the most out of it when we get back to racing is something that I've been working on. I really love the way that our car looks. It's, normally you get a lot of race cars, a lot of different liveries and different sponsors, but when the mix that we've got here and the way it stands out on the track is pretty cool. We've had such a great response from all the fans and all the sponsors that are supporting us is a big part of putting that all together, and the contributing factor to that it really helps keep you motivated, and there's nothing better than coming back, flicking through the photos and seeing a good looking race car. There's a lot of questions at the moment, particularly around what the series is going to look like going forward. The great thing is we know that it's going to be exciting no matter what we put on track, but the one thing that excites me is the questions, where are we going to race at first? And you feel like a little kid because all that excitement, which track are we going to go to, what's the racing, what type of race formats are we going to do? So that type of excitement is good because we don't know what to expect. We do know that when we put these things on track, it's going to be hell for leather and having a bit of fun.
Oh, hello there. I'm Jean-Michel Courtois, Director of the Total Engine Oil Research Center. And you're here to discover our secrets, aren't you? Well, follow me. Let me show you what we do here. Ladies, gentlemen, ready? Let's push Total Quartz engine oil to its limits under the extreme conditions of motorsports. Good job, team. The track is our lab. Total Quartz.
Back with you for round 6 of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup. Phillip Island's Grand Prix circuit is our venue tonight, or today, depending on where you're watching around the world. I'm Aaron Noonan. Matt Nolte is my virtual sidekick tonight. He's not sitting next to me, but it feels like you are, Matt. Let's swap it up now from the Audi touring car to the Dallara Formula 3 open wheeler. This is going to be something different. We've not done this in any round of the series. Every night that we've gone racing, we've stayed in the same car from race 1 to race 2. Now, we've completely changed it round with another qualifying session, though, for everyone to get their head into gear and get another qualifying position, as Astron Tech qualifying's been underway for a couple of minutes, and you'll notice that the liveries are the same, the numbers are the same, the roofs have disappeared from the cars, and the bumpers have as well. They will have to remember that when they get close to their rivals.
I used that term deja vu earlier at the top of the show about being here last year for real, but also brings back memories of being at the Bend Motorsport Park at the end of last year, where we saw several drivers jump out of TCR cars into these wings and slicks. It's so cool to see the open wheelers at Phillip Island, a track that really shows how cool these cars are.
Everyone's behind the wheel of the 2017 F3 Dallara. This is race 2, qualifying underway. Looking here at Cody Bircher, who was, wow, he was impressive in that first race in the touring cars. He finished runner-up to Ash Sutton. It's his first run in our series. He's a wild card, one of 3 wild cards in the field tonight. And let's see if he can run at the front. A 122.840. That is impressive stuff when you consider that the outright real deal lap record at Phillip Island is 124.22 from Simon Wills, the Kiwi, back in the days of Formula Holden 20 years ago. We are virtually going very fast.
Was that 98?
2000. 20 years.
2000?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was a very Olympic year, if you remember.
Yes. It's a long time ago as well. So it's Bircher, Haber, and Aaron Cameron in the top 3. Nick Carroll, Glenn Serra, Lockie Manif, and Tom Randall. Well, he should be really one to watch in this session here. We've seen him in real-life competition in S5000, and now finds himself inside that top 10, where most of the drivers have set 3, maybe 4 laps in Astron Tech qualifying.
Having a look here at Garth Tander, he is behind the wheel of the JMX 75 car on your screen, and that is Garth Tander in the simulator at the Melbourne Performance Centre here in Melbourne. He's 4 doors away from me here, and that is the setup. It's one of the best sims that you will see anywhere in a motorsport facility in Australia. Have a look at it move. It's not one of those static ones. It's moving. He's rocking and rolling. He's feeling all the bumps, all the aero, all the movement of the car. And then you've got those 3 panels of screens. If you're not used to it, it is really mind-bending.
It's like when you wear the virtual reality gear. You wear that for too long and you get off there with the head spins, and it really does mess you around. We've got to point out too, I mean, sim racing, E-Series competition wasn't really taken seriously for a long time. They were just seen as a bit of fun with your mates on a Friday night in simulators that were usually coffee tables and at most a desk in your office. But they really have come a long way. You're seeing like 5-digit simulators and some six-figure simulators pop up these days. Something you and I probably won't ever see, but certainly cool nonetheless.
Mate, I'm still back in my Commodore 64 days, that's for sure. Looking here at Tom Randall, and he's going all in Simland. He's turned it into a business to have his own simulator here in Melbourne, so cool, where he can coach you on, and he can spend some time himself getting his eye in as he runs over the top of Lukey Heights, the ACT fence hire number 49 car. Of course, he was 3rd place at the Sandown 500 with his good friend Lee Holdsworth last year. He'll be with Nick Percat for the Enduros for the Supercars this year. He's diving off to pit lane. Time they're chasing, 122.607, but it's the familiar suspects who are fast in the touring car. They're fast in the open wheeler. Bircher, Ransley, Haber, and this man, Aaron Borg, who was just on screen, jumped up into position 4. He's another of our wildcards tonight, Matt. He's last year's Toyota 86 Racing Series champion. He's a guy to really contend with as Ash Sutton now drops into the timing and runs in P2. So we changed the cars, but we haven't really changed too much of the order.
That's good to see. Sutton slowing it down on this lap now. So just under 0.2 of a second separating two cars. We had half a second separate 20 cars in our ARG race just a few moments ago. Jordan Cox to the finish line now. He stays in 14th position, some 0.9 behind the fast time of Cody Bircher, 1:22.5, with just under 7 minutes to go on Astron Tech qualifying. Across the top of the hill, check in with Harley Haber. Down at the hairpin. So Haber finds himself in 7th position now. 1:23.0 is his quickest time of the session, going past one of the slower cars, heading back towards the pits. Will this be a better lap for Harley Haber?
Comes into the night, Matt, with a handy points margin over Nathan Hearn, who had a tough first race. Haber sits in P7. Hey, Matt, I've got my spies here. In fact, Haber jumps to 5th with that lap. My spies here have been down the corridors at Melbourne Performance Centre, and they've seen something very, very disturbing and strange. Garth Tander and Michael Caruso are helping one another. They are towing one another and giving each other a slipstream around this circuit. I've never heard of those two helping one another ever before.
Ever. This is groundbreaking. This is news on its own. Here is Tander, speak of the devil, 75. You see on our leaderboard right now, he's back in 12th position behind Randall, who just crosses the line. Did Randall improve on that lap? He was 7/10 behind on his previous run and stays there with 5 minutes and 38 seconds to go. So that time for Bircher, set early in the session, hasn't really been affected.
That was a really good lap, Matt. He has really nailed it. 22.66 is the next best from Ash Sutton. We're right on board here with Garth Tander, who, before he stepped into the F3 car in this eSport Cup, has never actually driven an F3 car for real, despite owning a handful of them. Remember that Tander Sport ran these sorts of cars in the Gold Star, the Australian Drivers' Championship, for his wife Leanne, who was runner-up 2 years in a row. As we look again, look at the way it's moving around as he brakes, and then he turns and it rides the curbs and swings its way onto the Gardner Straight here. Tander at the moment on the timing screens is position 12 as Aaron Borg now jumps up into P5. But this is a great chance for us to watch one of the best wheelmen in the business doing his thing around the island with 4.5 minutes on the clock in Astron Tech qualifying.
Yeah, she does make it look easy. He's very smooth, this Garth Tander, and he stays in 12th position with that lap. Cox has gone up into 4th position now in the number 6 car. His stay-in car with Garth Tander down at Southern Loop. 4.5 minutes remaining. Bircher still has a great margin. Nearly 2/10 back to Sutton, Ransley, Cox, Aaron Borg, Harley Haber, Dylan O'Keefe in 7th. Then Cameron, Nick Carroll and John Martin. Another man with heaps of open wheel experience completes the top 10 with Randall, Tander, McMillan, Brook and Macro. Hey, Macro in the field in 15th position.
And there's a guy who knows all about open wheelers. Of course, he's S5000 racer, but a former Gold Star champion. The time that F3 cars contested the ultimate prize in open wheeler racing in Australia. We're counting down, just under 4 minutes to go. Ben Bargwana on screen. Well, he's behind the screen a little bit at the moment. There he's in and behind for a second. The inset shot of Garth Tander behind the wheel of the sim at the Melbourne Performance Centre. But Bargwana is backing up his performance from earlier on, Matt. He's 12th fastest. And of course, he's got a bit of open wheeler experience in Formula Ford. Set to share with Jason, his father, in the Burson Peugeot at this year's Bathurst International, the 500k TCR endurance race. As we look here at Sutton, still P2 on the leaderboard. Bircher sitting on the Astron Tech pole position with not much time left to go at Phillip Island.
Just saw Sutton there and using the draft coming out of the final term. It wasn't enough to find him any gain as McReynolds comes to the finish line here. He was 20th coming into the finish to that lap, some 8.5 behind the rest of the field, and will stay there behind Fraser and Macro, who's been bumped down a couple of spots as well behind Tim Brook. And again, some big margins. O'Keefe to the finish line, 7th position aboard the number 33, and will stay there. So as everybody fired their best shot early in this session. There's the commentator's curse, Snoons, right there. They'll come out and go half a second quicker now.
I tell you what, Tony D'Alberto got very, very good at the commentator's curse in earlier rounds of this series. Cameron Vandendungen was a commentary curse expert for us last week.
He was born with it.
I think you've taken the mantle for tonight already.
I've had it for 20 years. I can't shake it off. D'Alberto through Southern Loop. The number 50 works his way around. He'll have enough here for at least 2 laps around the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, 4.4 kilometres in duration. Borg has gone to second, so he splits Bircher and Sutton. The gap just over 1/10 of a second now.
It's so tight. The margins are tight in the first few, but more of a spread from the top 5 to the 10 to the 15 than we saw in the touring car. There's a bit of an art to getting these open wheelers up and rolling. The F3 cars don't have the grunt of, say, an S5000 car or a TCM car, as Jason Gomersall on our screen is well used to. F3 car, I think it's about 220 horsepower, but ask anybody who's raced these cars in Australia or internationally, they'll have a grin on their face. Lots of aero, lots of speed, beautiful race car. That's what we're seeing in this one at Phillip Island. Minute 20 on the clock as we ride on board with Jason Gomersall. Of course, he's a partner in the Mattstone Racing Supercars team. He's a TCM racer with that awesome V8 Tirana that he's been driving, the hatchback that takes you back to the HDT days of Brock and Harvey and legends of the 70s. And this is a very different beast that he's driving tonight, though, to what he's used to.
And very much a different beast to what he drove years ago in his early days of his career in a Formula V up in Queensland. Missing the wings on that day, but now finds himself in 35th position, with just under a minute remaining. Still Bircher, 1/10 of a second clear of Borg. Sutton, Ransley and Cox is the top 5. Off the track goes Sutton now at the hairpin. Take the shortcut or the joker lap if we were to have one. And rejoins just in front of a gaggle of cars here, but does the right thing and gives himself a bit of space.
At the moment, he's position 3, Matt, with 24 seconds on the clock. Aaron Cameron here. We don't see much of Aaron. He's a bit of a quiet achiever. Position 8 in car number 18, the Valvoline entry. Behind Ricky Capo on the road. Bircher is still on pole position. Time about to run down. 5 seconds on the clock. Bircher, 1:22.501. It's going to take something special to bump him from the pole.
And I think for Sutton there too, with that mistake, that's going to ruin his next lap, which will virtually run him out of time, you'd think, in this session. As O'Keefe, 7th position, coming around to complete this lap. The idea is to find someone to dance with. I don't mean at the Isle of Wight when it used to be there in the day, but someone you can race with around the circuit here at Phillip Island. Try and use the slipstream. Try and improve the speed, increase the speed, and improve your lap time.
Dylan O'Keefe stays P7. Remember, he was a winner of 2 races at Phillip Island last year in the carsales TCR Australia Series. Here's Nick Carroll in the Hogan Prestige cars, number 48. He is 9th on the timing screen at the moment. He's flying the flag for Trans Am. Of course, he has previously raced in the Kumo V8 Touring Car Series with Matthew White's team. No change for Carroll. He's 9th, and Sutton now loops the Panzer Fuel car, so he will not make an improvement and will, at the moment, line up from 3rd on the grid.
It's a second mistake in 2 laps from there. As Cameron comes to the finish line once again, he was 8th in car number 18. Was an improvement. Fraser just behind him in that 777. But Bircher looks good here with 1/10 of a second over Borg. Another spin. It's Andrew Waite in 1:48 and gets away with it. I think there was 2 360s involved there, and that'll end his session. So they're trying, being a bit desperate on the final lap of their qualifying run here for Astron Tech pole position. But looks like Cody Bircher looks good here with that 1:22.6.
Stunning stuff from the wildcard entrant. In fact, it's a wildcard front row, Bircher and Borg. They worked their way into the field for tonight by finishing top 3 in a wildcard race last night, and they've delivered in this one. They'll line up on the front row of the grid for our second race in round 6 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Ash Sutton, Jaden Ransley get to do it all over again in F3 cars from the second row. Then Cox and our series leader Haber, O'Keefe and Cameron, Carroll and Tom Randall. That's a bit more like what we expect from Tom Randall. He'll be on the outside of row 5 for race 2 tonight. Let's have a chat to our pole sitter, Cody Bircher. For a wild card, you have made one heck of an impression. We took the roof off the car, we took the panels and the bumpers off and put you in an open wheeler, and you're still up the front. Well done.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Last race, I haven't driven the TCR car much, so I felt like I struggled, but I mean, the pace is pretty good. The F3 car I find a lot more fun, so hopefully we can go one better.
Mate, if that was a struggle, imagine what you'll do if you'll go well. You'll win by 9 years.
Yeah, if everything goes to plan, that'd be nice. But yeah, we'll see how it all goes, and hopefully it goes that way.
All right, good to chat to you. We'll let you get ready for this next race at Phillip Island with the F3 cars. You can see on your screen we're running through the grid for this second race. Let's have a chat to Dylan O'Keefe, who starts from P7. Hey, mate. This is a bit more your sort of style. You've been a top 5-6 runner tonight, no matter what the car. What can you do in this one?
Yeah, a bit cleaner qualifying there, so I'm hoping have a clean race again and get a solid bag of points. So hopefully get off the start all right, and then settle into a good rhythm. The race before I had a lot of damage, so just trying to bring her home really.
I noticed that. Where did that damage come from?
The Siberia crash at lap 1. So after that, I was just getting bugs to work with me.
Good man. All right, we'll let you get back to getting ready for this second one. We'll have a chat to, just quickly, Tom Randall, P10. That's a bit more your speed. Race 1, we barely saw you.
Yeah, look, I didn't get any practice in before tonight. And the qualifying descent on the F3 was the first time I've driven this car on this track. So managed to pull something together, but now's the race. So got any tips for?
Go fast.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
There he is, Tom Randall, starts from P10, Matt. Let's get ready for race 2. Round 6 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. It's Cody Bircher and Aaron Borg, a couple of wild cards. As you can see, all the drivers logging in for the race, their cars appearing on the grid on the Gardner Straight. Don't have to park on the dummy grid and drive out there. You just press a button and you appear on the track. That's the way I like to go racing as we get underway. Race 2 at Phillip Island. Couple slow at the back, already damaged, already cars bouncing off the top of one another, and there is a serious rollover in the middle of the pack. But out front, Cody Bircher has the lead. Aaron Borg will go with him. They're on cold tyres. Be careful in this opening couple of corners.
So 2 or 3 cars that went off before they got to the control line in this S5000 run. Another spinner at the back, or sort of mid-pack of the field there, has gone off into the gravel at Southern Loop. Hard to keep an eye with this. Thomas Randall. So we just spoke to him, and the commentator's curse is now 15 all spinner down at the hairpin. It's on here.
Harley Haber's off the road to Kumo 21. It's been a miserable night. He got a drive-through penalty in the first race for an infringement. Now he's off the road on the first lap of race 2. Drama and disaster. And now the exit of Siberia. There's cars involved. Will Brown looks like he's got a little bit of damage. Tander's slow as well. It's all going on in this opening lap. It's wild. I thought they'd calmed down from the first, the last couple of laps of the first race, but it's on here and now already off the road. Is that Jaden Ransley off the road?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So, just like that, we've had 4 or 5 incidents on the opening lap of this race, and just 23 and a half minutes to go. We didn't think this was a 2-lap sprint, did we?
Feels like it. We've only got to the end of lap 1, and Ash Sutton is the leader. Good fight here between he and Cody Bircher as they run towards turn 1. Aaron Borg is right with them as well. Contact at turn 1, and the Panther Fuels car is off the road, out through the sand. There goes the front wing. There goes the nose cone as well, and that car will be no good in terms of making speed. And the curse of he and the F3 car has struck again.
Half of Formula Ford now, isn't it? As he returns to the circuit, James Golding just ahead of him in that Valvoline, number 31. Bircher from Carroll O'Keefe, Hearn, the top 4 with Martin just behind. It's hard to keep an eye on where to look at this race so far with a very mixed up field. You see down the leaderboard, you've got Mediki in 14th, Tander 15th, and Harley Haber now in 16th position.
I've actually got something of a headache, Matt, and we've only got onto lap 2 to find out who did what to who and wow, who, when. Oh boy, it's hard to keep a track of. We'll be here all night trying to get the download on who had dramas. Here is Harley Haber. He is position 16 now on our screens, and he's back with Garth Tander, who's, I think he had a little bit of damage on the way through. It's a little bit hard to tell as a move is done there by, that's McReynolds making a move in the wall racing car with Aaron Seaton in that fluoro yellow car just behind, trying to make up some ground as well, but it's the same drivers who were good in the touring car who've been good in the open wheeler. Bircher up front, Carroll's in the mix too with Dylan O'Keefe. It's really wild. Here's Golding and Hansen, turn 1.
From top now with Hansen through the first turn and down to Southern Loop. So it settles down. Only took a few minutes, but they're now settled into some kind of groove here with Bircher out in front. The gap just under 0.3 of a second back to Carroll O'Keefe. Nathan Hearn runs in 4th. In fact, he's gone up to 3rd position now. O'Keefe, Martin, Macro and Barguana in 7th. Then Brooke, Golding and Hansen complete the top 10. Early days here at the island.
Will Brown there just behind in car number 1. As we watched them run through Siberia. This is a timed race, 25 minutes. It's full championship points. No reverse grid for this one. It's a straight fight from how they qualified. We've mixed it up tonight with a run in the Audi touring car and a run in the open wheeler. Oh, Dylan O'Keefe, rear wing is gone from car 33 off the road after dropping down from Lukey Heights. He was wanting a consistent run. He is now not going to have it. He's going to be fast in a straight line, but no good around the corners. Total replay will tell us the story of what has happened here.
It's around the back of the hay shed, so climbing is the hay shed in the distance. The rear wing come off this car. That would have given him a fright when he got to the final turn. It was contact. Was that Martin into him?
I think it may have been. 24, John Martin in the Wall Racing car. Hey, let's have a chat, Matt, to a guy who is in the fight for the series. He's second at the moment. Nathan Hearn, how's it rolling for you, mate?
Yeah, it's good. Last race was way less than ideal. I spent 4 laps in the tow truck after we got collected by Tander coming around turn 2. So at least this race we're keeping it clean. Having a good battle with Dick at the moment. So we're up in the points, and fingers crossed we can just stay here for the race.
Are you keeping an eye on where Harley Haber is? I can tell you he's 14th at the moment. Are you keeping an eye on where the series leader is in this one?
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate for him. Obviously, I want to have some clean racing with him, but look, it's just the way this series is at the moment. Just with the E-Series, everyone's struggling to adapt, and with the 2 different cars, there was a bit of carnage in the first lap. So, yeah, look, it's probably evened itself out after I finished 34th in the first race, and now balance for seconds. Hopefully, I can keep try not to let the gap get too big in between us, but and try and stay in the fight.
Where are you racing from tonight, mate?
In the garage, actually. I've got my family in the living room watching me on TV whilst I'm racing in the garage. So, yeah, it's a bit hot in the garage, but it does the job. So, simulating a race car.
Have you banned them from coming into the garage and trying to put you off?
Yeah, well, I've started streaming tonight for the first time, and first thing Mum done after about 10 minutes of stream was come in, put her face in front of the camera, and say dinner was ready. So she didn't realise it was on or anything. But you get that in the big jobs. So yeah,
You do. We'll let you continue this fight with Nick Carroll. Good job.
Yep. Thank you. Cheers.
And did a mega job too, talking to us while he's got Nick Carroll glued to the gearbox of his number 5. Well done, Nathan Hearn.
Hey, Matt, you've done many a race call in your time of all sorts of motor racing, but I don't think I've ever talked to a driver who's had a situation earlier on the evening where his mum's called him for dinner midway during a race. That's a first.
Can you imagine it right at the opportune moment like now to come in and say dessert's ready? As you're climbing to the top of the hill.
Hey, I like dessert. Anytime's good for dessert. Hey, Carroll's putting the pressure on here, but Birch has got away. 3.7 seconds the margin between he and Hearn as we look back a bit further in the order. This is the battle pack that is 7th down to 14th, all nose to tail. Let's have a chat to another of our drivers in the Astron Tech number 2 car. She knows her way around an open wheeler. Chelsea Angelo, how you rolling? P27 here. This is not your kind of style.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we were like middle, more towards up front, and then someone, I swear, brake test me into Siberia, and I got turned around, and the rest is history.
I'm just hearing... No, hang on. Yep, I just heard excuses, Chelsea. That's all I heard there.
Excuse me, that is not excuses.
I just wanted to get a reaction from you.
No, it's good fun. I mean, like, I'm streaming live from my Twitch account today, so all my fans and viewers are enjoying it, so it's good racing at the moment.
You haven't had anyone call you for dinner or for dessert? We've had some of our drivers who have been interrupted tonight because people have been trying to feed them.
No, I haven't. I played it smart and actually had dinner beforehand, so I was all set and ready to go.
Good race strategy. Well done. We'll let you get back to it.
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
Does a mega job. She spends hours on the simulator, doesn't she, in the lead up to real life racing, as well as what we see here tonight at Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Across the backside of the circuit we are now. We're still, can you believe this, Noon, 16 minutes, nearly 17 minutes of this race still to go.
Oh, we've got plenty left to happen. If you're watching, don't tune out yet. It is not over. Golding here down the inside on Harley Haber, the series leader, trying to make a move and work his way forward. I caught a glimpse there of Dylan O'Keefe's car. He's still running around without the rear wing. That's Gartander
off the road. He's been in the pit lane having some repairs for a while, but he's way down the order now, so he's just getting rolling again. Let's
incident down. Sorry, Nunes, down at the turn 4 hairpin. Here's the total replay of what happened to Garth Tander just a few moments ago. So right-hand side, was there a bit of a contact down here perhaps? Into the Honda hairpin?
Yeah.
Hard to tell, you reckon?
No, I reckon there might have been. Nathan Morecambe was the car behind, and then the wheels got connected there together. Hey, let's have a chat to another of our drivers. He is raiding his dad's race suit cupboard every week and getting right into character. Aaron Seaton is wearing a Ford Tickford Racing suit. Surely you're running out of your dad's suits to wear. This gig's got to be up in a 10-round series.
Oh, I'm getting close, but I've got a few more up my sleeve left.
Hey, how you travelling here in this open wheeler? This is not your normal kind of style. You're more of a man with a roof on your head in an 86 Toyota or a Trans Am car. How are you going with the open wheeler?
Yeah, I definitely prefer a roof, but no, I'm really enjoying the high grip level. It's been quite a challenge switching cars. It's especially getting used to the brake feel. It's been a lot more touchy to lock the brakes in this F3, so no, it's been quite a big challenge, and I'm really enjoying being out here.
Where are you racing from tonight, mate? Are you at home again?
No, I'm actually at a friend's place in near Hope Island, so I'm trying out his sim, and he's got a Fanatec wheel, so I'm enjoying the feel compared to, I've got a Logitech at the moment, G27, and yeah, I just feel more comfortable on the setup, so I can't thank Nick enough for letting me use it.
Good man. That's the way to go. Get a friend who's got better gear and a good setup. That's the way to go. Good stuff.
Definitely.
There he is, Aaron Seaton, the third-generation star. Hey, Matt, it was his dad Glenn's birthday 2 days ago. The baby-faced assassin is 55. Who would have thought?
He'll still look 25, Nunes. Absolutely no doubt about
Very
that.
true.
Wonder if Aaron had the drink straw going on. It's hard to tell in that Linda View going on, but he's down the field at the moment in 19th position. You've got Ransley in the 47, just behind Jay Hansen. The battle for 10th position here with just over 14 minutes to go. It starts to build up at the front with Bircher out by 5 seconds to Nick Carroll. Nathan Hearn, a great job in third position with Jason Barguana, and Tim Macro Nunes on his way up. He's in 5th position.
Yep, you can't keep an open-wheeler driver down. Tim Macro is in the mix here. He's fighting with that Burson Auto Parts car, the 117 car of Ben Barguana. This is the fight. Oh, there was a car off the road there in the background. I don't know if that was for position. Ransley managed to negotiate the situation okay. Here's Ben Barguana, 117, has had a really good night at the office, sits in P4, and if Ben goes this well, I don't reckon Jason's going to get another steer in the rest of the carsales ARG eSport Cup.
Bargs might be going to work every Thursday night.
Exactly.
Stellar job nonetheless. The Burson Auto Parts car through Southern Loop finds himself in 4th position. Fastest lap of the race, 122.85, going to Jaden Ransley, who runs in 10th position, while the leaders are in the 23s, and still a long way to play out in this race, down to the turn 4 hairpin.
Settled down a little bit, but as you mentioned before, Cody Birch's lead, I mean, it's 5.1 seconds. Hearn and Carroll in turn have about 6 seconds back to Ben Barguana, who we're looking at here. Macro's next. There he is, that orange number 23 car. Tim Brooks with him. Then Jordan Cox. Margin back to Harley Haber, John Martin, Jaden Ransley. That's the 10. Here's Tim Macro. Very experienced in Formula 3 racing, open wheelers, drives an S5000. He was the guy that put all of those miles in the prototype S5000 to test all of the components and to get it ready to roll for that first race that we had at Sandown last September. Can't wait to see that category back up and rolling when we get cars back on racetracks for real this year. Hey, let's have a chat to this guy. Ben Barguana sits in P4. You are having a stellar night, and I don't reckon you should let your dad get back behind the wheel. You have owned it tonight, my friend.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I don't know if I'll let him back in the seat. I'm doing pretty well tonight.
Hey, no pressure. You've got to keep it going for another 12 minutes. There's a fair margin to Nathan Hearn in third spot, but you've been coming on strong in the last few weeks. Have you been getting more time behind the wheel of the sim?
Yeah, just putting in more time, more laps, and every lap helps. So I've noticed that. I'm doing more races, doing more practice laps, and yeah, it's really helping.
Are you racing from home tonight, mate?
I'm actually racing from work, but yeah.
Oh, well, that's the beauty of this style of racing. You can do it from just about anywhere. It's going well. We'll get out of your ear and let you get back to it.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
There he is, Ben Bargwanna, third-generation racer. They're racers, the Bargs, aren't they, Matt?
You know, when Barg said that Ben was coming on to race a few years ago, I thought we are starting to get old, because you and I both remember when Jace got the steer at GRM all those years ago.
Yeah,
it's incredible how quick they come along. Speaking of quick, Cody Bircher is going to be hard to beat from here now. 11 minutes of this race still remaining. It's down towards turn number 1. We watched Nathan Hearn and Carroll. This has been going on for quite some time now. Battle for second and third as they work their way down to Southern Loop. Behind them, Bargwanna, who we just spoke to, Jordan Cox, Tim Macro, Tim Brook is 7th, Harley Haber, John Martin and Jaden Ransley, who's at the pointy end in the ARG Cup race, now finds himself in position number 10.
So a couple of guys who've been racing Trans Ams this year fighting for this second spot. 10.5 minutes to go, and Carroll's got the inside line at turn 4. Hearn behind the wheel of that black Gulf Western Oil, number 29. Of course, Gulf Western Oil have had plenty of history in motorsport over the years. Great to see them supporting one of the young stars who is doing good things in this series. Second in the points coming into tonight. Nick Carroll, 13th in the series, coming in as well. So a big fistful of points for him up on the line for him in this second race, with the margin to the lead is way too much, Matt. 6.8 seconds. It's really between these two for second and third. They've got 6 seconds over Bargwanna, so it's a private fight for P2 and 3. And if you Hearn, I reckon you just want the points here and hope that Harley Haber doesn't work his way forward from the P7 that he sits in now, because around, remember, this is round 6 of 10. There's still time to work his way back towards the points lead. Have a look at how close they are at the line. 8 laps to go, 9.5 minutes on the clock, and they're still fighting for turn 1 side by side.
Well, Cody Bircher was doing 23.0s for the last 4 laps. That's 9/10 quicker than the rest of the field, and that's why his margin is where it is right now. Nearly 7.5 seconds, while second and third continues on. They've got nearly 6 seconds back to Bargwanna. Great shot looking towards Bass Strait here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. So Carroll just ahead here into Siberia. Hearn can almost see the gearbox in the back of the 48. Past the flag point on the left-hand side. The lake on the left-hand side as well. A change of direction here. And just ahead, take the curb cam shot, is the famous hay shed just beneath that shot, and up towards the top. They'll go side by side at the top of the hill. This enthralling battle continues with 8.5 minutes remaining.
Let's have a chat to the driver who's on screen at the moment. He's such a big deal. He's got his name on his car. Tony D'Alberto, how are you travelling here?
Nah, no good this one, fellas. I was, oh, there's a moment there. It's very hard to talk and drive at the same time, but yeah, I got a really good start and literally plowed into the car in front of me and tore a wheel off. So I know these things have got wings, but they don't fly as well as I thought.
What's been more fun, TD, doing the commentary or doing the racing?
No, the racing is, I'm definitely more at home doing the racing, and I'm enjoying it more and more, but I love driving this F3 car, but I just hate, you can't really race anybody that closely, because you just, any impact and you knock a wheel off and your day's done, so that can be a bit frustrating.
Well, you shouldn't try to use the wheels to bump your competitors around, TD. I mean, that's just racing clean.
I just got such a good start that I think I caught the guy napping whoever was in front of me. That's my excuse anyway.
Yeah, I
think that's excuse number 92. Driver's manual.
The book gets bigger.
You sook for weeks that you didn't have the right gear to go racing, and you hit in the commentary box with me. Have you now got all the gear that you need to go racing every week?
No, I've got a great steering wheel, but I'm still waiting on my beautiful SimWorks pedals. They make the best pedals in online racing, so they're not far away, but they've just been so busy trying to get all the equipment out to all these drivers at the moment, so I'm just going to wait my turn.
All right, we'll let you get back to it. You will have to do some more practice, my friend, for next week.
Speak to Steph for me, please. Give me a lead pass.
All right, we'll do our best.
Cheers, guys.
There he is, Tony D'Alberto, last year's runner-up in the car sales TCR Australia Series. He sits in P29 at the moment as we look here at the fight with Jordan Cox and Ben Bargwanna. This is for fourth, and Cox has picked up the spot.
Down into Siberia, they're a long way behind Nick Carroll and Nathan Hearn. They're still arguing over second and third, while Cody Birchip has nearly 9 seconds, and he was a second quicker than everybody else on the previous lap. We watch Jordan Cox with Ben Bargwanna glued to the back. They climb the hill and then plunge down the opposite side. Look from the rear wing of Jordan Cox's entry, the Gary Rogers Motorsport entry, car number 6, down at the hairpin.
What an impression he made, Matt, last year in the car sales TCR Australia Series. He stepped into a Honda for a round and then got the gig with GRM in the Alfa Romeo and really lit it up and marked himself as a guy to watch in the series. Have a look at the slipstream here onto the front straight. Up it comes. Here comes the Burson Auto Parts 117 with Ben Bargwanna at the helm. Counting down, 5 minutes 10 on the clock. So time for a position change here. Haber is next car on the road in P6 from Macro, Ransley, Martin and Tim Brook in the Morris Finance 64 car is next in the queue. But Bargwanna's not done with here yet. He's well and truly in the mix and making one heck of a race of it. Hey, while they're fighting, let's have a chat to two guys who are sharing a room tonight, but on different sims. Michael Caruso, Garth Tander. It's been a dirty night at the office, boys. What's been going on? You had a bit of time in pit lane in the F3.
Oh yeah, I think we've all spent time pit lane. I reckon after the second lap, pit lane was busier than it was before the start of qualifying.
What's the tale of woe for each of you? Did you have some damage before, Garth? You know, this was your idea to have a touring car race and an F3 race. Are you regretting coming up with that idea? Robbo, what about you? It's been a tough night at the office. Are you going to come back and have another go?
It'd be good if crash damage actually cost everyone something, because I reckon it'd clean a fair bit of this action up.
I reckon you're right, just quietly. The big fella wouldn't let you on the big sim tonight?
Wow.
No, he can't see over the steering wheel on the big sim. He's got the same problem as Tony D'Alberto. Can't see over the steering wheel. We actually, before he couldn't see. We're going to make a pit stop for a cushion.
Stop it. Stop it. Get back to racing. There they are, Garth Tander and Michael Caruso racing together in the same room at Melbourne Performance Centre tonight, Matt. It's great that they can do that as we look here at Jaden Ransley fighting with Tim Macro for 7th and 8th, 2.5 minutes on the clock. Hey, Matt, Cody Bircher leads by 10.1 seconds. The wildcard kid is giving them a smashing.
Meantime, Macro down the finish line. They were dead even, both he and Ransley, who looks to make the move down to turn number 1. So they start to turn up the temperature. In the closing minutes of this race, there's been a change in for second and third. It's just changed back again. Well, look at the leaderboard, but that was a good move. He set him up nicely from the back of the hay shed and now puts Ransley up into 7th position. Fair effort to do that on Tim Macro, though.
There's a guy who's been around, done a lot of laps at Phillip Island and a lot of laps in Formula 3 race cars. Looking forward, there's Haber putting a move on Jordan Cox. That's for position 4. Crucial championship points for our title chase leader. It's round 6 tonight of 10. We race every week in the carsales ARG eSport Cup, and it's usually about now that we reveal all in terms of next week's event. And
what the racetrack is and what the race cars will be, we might reveal that a bit later on before we come off air tonight. But Cody Bircher leads by 10.6 seconds now. He's got this one covered. Ransley looks like he's got enough pace here to get away from Tim Macro. So once more, the young guns are really starring. A bit further back in the pack, we've got Brett Holdsworth here with Jason Gomersall, Ash Sutton and Aaron Seaton fighting for positions 16, 17, 18 and 19 with just over 1 minute left to go on the clock in race 2, round 6.
This could be a 5-car scrap in the closing minute of this race. To round the outside does Gomersall, but leaves himself open for a challenge here. Covers it off nicely, but the switchback down at the hairpin. But had the better the car right in the middle of the course at the hairpin.
Oh boy, massive contact. I think that was Aaron Cameron. Oh boy, wrong place, wrong time. And
that's Caruso.
It's Caruso. Oh boy. I thought he had a bad enough night at the sim office, but it just got worse.
I saw Cameron's name down outside the top 32 there, mate, and I thought, well, that's Caruso right in the middle, and unfortunately, nowhere to go down the hairpin for Jason Gomersall. While Jordan Cox continues to hold back Harley Haber here, 4th and 5th, with less than 30 seconds to go.
On the run to the checkered flag, close stuff between Haber and Cox, over the top. Oh, sideways. At Lukey Heights, dropping down to MG. This kid can steer a car. P4, the series leader, has worked his way back up the order. We've got 1 lap to go. The cars have made it to the line before the end of the clock, so Bircher has to do 1 more lap, and he could make the margin even bigger. 11.7 seconds now. Back to Carroll, who is trying to break the toe from Nathan Hearn in the Gulf Western Oil's 29 car. The 2 Trans Am young guns are going at it for P2.
Good shot from the nose cone then too, going into Southern Loop. We just saw behind Haber and Cox as well. I think Haber might be back ahead going through turn number 1. It's hard to look with so many cars side by side down the Gardner Straight from the front wing of Nathan Hearn, the Gulf Western Oils car. Running out of time here. The battle for 2nd and 3rd. They're not going to catch Cody Bircher, Noons, with that nearly 12-second advantage out in front.
No, go and get the virtual trophy. Give it to the young gun from Orange. He's absolutely nailed it. Hey, before we get to the checkered flag, I can reveal next week's round is from the great Oran Park Raceway in Sydney. The now defunct circuit from New South Wales will be back virtually next week. It'll be an Audi touring car night around Oran Park. Looking forward to that one. But we're counting down the finish line. Cody Bircher is on his way to the start-finish line. Here he is. He has nailed them. The Tony Lay Motor Group number 36 car. He was right up there in the first race in the Audi touring car. He was runner-up then. He's race winner now. Nick Carroll is on his way home to 2nd place, but it's all about the toe. Can Hearn get a move to the inside, to the line? Timing screens will give the answer. Oh boy, that was close. Carroll gets there. Oh, 6 thousandths of a second. Translation, barely anything.
Phenomenal. Every time there's a finish like that at Phillip Island, doesn't matter if it's 1st or 31st. This is McMillan coming around to finish the race. He was 14th from Dylan O'Keefe's perspective. What a finish there for 2nd and 3rd. Incredible racing here today, and the wingless, the rear wingless, Dylan O'Keefe finishes in 13th place today.
That was a really good performance. That probably is not, but that did open up the camera to be able to see out the back of that car. Hey, let's have a chat. We talked to him earlier. Cody Bircher, you have outdone yourself, my friend. 12.3 seconds the margin. That's stunning.
Thank you. Yeah, that was good fun. The F3 is a fun car. I love it. You got to be on your game the whole time, really. As soon as you just try and lift off too early, I could be conservative. You lose all your grip. So yeah, just looking forward to getting back in the Formula Ford in real life. Hopefully we can all get racing soon.
Yeah,
Cody, well done, mate. That was an impressive run. You were comfortably half a second to a second quicker each lap there. The consistency really paid off. 12.5 seconds. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was good fun. This car's always probably been one of my favourites. So I suppose all just went well for me. It was a shame what happened to everyone else at the start, but obviously, I'm really happy.
Great job, mate. It's been great to have you part tonight as a wildcard entrant in the carsales ARG eSport Cup. I reckon you've made a name for yourself. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There he is, Cody Bircher, the young gun From Orange, Matt, what a great job. What a big margin. Carroll and Hearn round out the podium. Cox next from Haber. Ben Bargwana set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of the race to finish 6th. Then Ransley, Martin, Golding and Tim Brook rounded out the 10. Good race.
Phenomenal race. Great finish. The margin there, 0.06 of a second between second and third position. Nick Carroll ahead of Nathan Hearn. Top 10 covered there by just under 30 seconds. And as ever, Noons, a lot of damage and great racing here at Phillip Island.
It's been great to have you with us, Matt Nolte and Aaron Noonan calling the action. Thank you for watching. Join us in 7 nights' time. In a week, the next round, round 7 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup from Oran Park Raceway when we get back behind the wheel of the Audi touring cars. Bye for now, wherever you're watching around the world. See you next week.